All right, welcome back to GameChanger. Today we have a pretty dope tutorial. It's going to be full of knowledge today. We're going to be talking about how to doing a drop fade. This is my boy Jalen. He had a high top drop fade. So now we're cutting it, doing wavelength. We're going to, the desired length on top is going to be a 1.5. But before we do, let's talk about his scalp. So he has a skin disorder, mild scalp disorder, CVG, which stands for Curtis versus Gyrata. Basically what it is, whenever you see a client, you ever seen a client with like little folds or creases in their scalp, kind of like the skin is rolling together? Basically that's what that is. It's just one of them things that they have thickness of the scalp, and that can be difficult to cut sometimes because when you have a lot of ridge lines, you have those folds, the hair kind of sits in those pockets, so it can kind of give the haircut a uneven type of look. So we're going to discuss how to get around that. Usually most clients have it on the top, the crown, or on the top of the scalp. He has it more on the sides, kind of on that ridge line that corrects the parietal ridge to the top. So we're going to discuss how to cut around it. So first thing we do, because like I said, he has a mild case, he has a little bit on top, but mainly on the sides. What I'll do is I'll start with a 3. The reason why I start with a 3 guard when you want a 1.5 is because, like I said, with those ridges, if I was to cut everything with the 1.5 from the long layer hairstyle that he had, those pockets would cut. They wouldn't cut as low as the top of those ridges would be. It's like having 2 mountains, and then there's hair in the valley of the mountain, which is the bottom of the mountain. The hair on top, when you cut with that guard, would cut much more hair off than the pocket. And the long, I'm going to point out he has a cowlick on top as well. So what I do to prevent the unevens, see that ridge right there? I'll point them out as the cut goes along. What I do is I use a larger guard, stretch the skin, then I'll come back with a smaller guard to cut all the hair down, and then we'll work those pockets with the corner of the blade. See, I'm kind of like, I kind of use the corner of the blade to cut those valleys. When I say valley, just know I'm talking about the very bottom of that pocket or that crease. All right, see, it's a lot of little creases. His hair is long and it also has multiple growth patterns. So what I do, like I said, start with the 3, go to a 2, then a 1.5. And then at the end of the haircut, I'll come with the warm rag. See, see this right, boom. See how the hair folds those pockets? That's the CVG we was talking about. It's a lot of that little bottom one don't matter, but the ones when you start to get to the crown right there in that area, or above the occipital bone, or right there on the parietal ridge. See, on the parietal lobe, I'm sorry. These areas, though, right there, that's just thickness of the skin. It kind of clumps up. So those kind of can give difficulty when you're actually doing a drop fade. Not as bad with tapers, depending on if it's on that temporal lobe. So yeah. Like I said, the warm rag will help me at the end lay their hair down. So now what I do, a standard drop fade means it's a ball fade with the back of the fade, which is where it drops at below the occipital bone. I don't let the folds of skin bother me right here because I'm just making sure to do a nice even line. So what you do want to try to prevent though, if you can kind of either start that line above or below a ridge or one of those folds, it'll be better because trying to fade on a ridge will never give you a desired look, because when the light kind of hits that ridge, it makes the fade look inconsistent. So there's just me being arty, trying to work around that, or use my artistic abilities to be creative to make that cut come out fire. So now I'm cleaning the scalp. Now I'm cleaning the hair up after I do my primary line. Then what I'm doing, I'm taking my gold FX and I'm doing my secondary line. So my method of fading is this. I do a 2-line method. I have 2 sections and I have 2 lines. So the ball section, so right here, the first line, which is the hard line I put in with my edgers, that's the primary line. The secondary line is the line above that one, that the dark hairs above it, that's the secondary line. Now the primary section is this light section that you see me creating right here. I'll fade that section first, then the secondary section is the dark hair. If you don't really understand what I just said, you can just rewind it and listen to it multiple times. It'll make sense. You have 2 lines and 2 sections. Anytime it's like whenever you buy one of those little cabinets from IKEA, right? The first thing you should do is always put things in order and then put it together, because now you can assemble correctly. Same thing with a haircut. You want to assemble the fade in order so that way you'll keep your workspace neat and you don't get lost in the sauce as you apply it. Does that make sense what I'm saying? All right. So now what I'm doing after I have my 2 sections, what I'll do now is I'll blend in this primary line. See that first line? I'm blending the primary line, which also in turns give the primary section a nice faded look. I don't take that section away. I just fade the section in. Because if you take it away, now you're building up more bulk in the secondary section. I hope that makes sense. All right. And like I said, a client with thick scalp or looser skin on their head, I use my offhand, which is the hand with my thumb and the comb in it, thumb on his head and the comb in it. I use that hand to stretch the skin. Why? Because a tight workspace and a larger workspace makes it easier for me to fade. Hope that makes sense. All right, so I should be seeing you guys in a few seconds. All right, and now this what I'm doing is a reverse tiger claw method. I'm putting the blade closer to the scalp. Helps me get that line out better. All right. See you in a few seconds. All right, so next step. Before I fade this secondary section or the secondary line into the secondary section, what I'll do is I'll debulk this section. Debulking is thinning out, lightening. No, I'm not fading, but when it is time for me to fade, if I debulk properly, it'll make it very, very easy for me to fade this section, which in turns give that transition from section 1 to section 2 a very smooth transition. So the lighter the area, the easier to fade, right? If I have all this bulky, thick hair, if I try to go with a smaller guard or a clipper with no guard on it at all, it'll be very difficult. And 9 times out of 10, I'll make the fade look chunky or uneven. That's the ridge. That's one of them folds I was talking about that we work around. So that's why I debulk. So I come with the 2, 1.5, 1, no guard. Now, the way you work those ridges, because again, sometimes, see that ridge, it falls in my fade section. If you see right there, if I don't fade that ridge in correctly, it'll make it look a little liney, a little chunky, a little not smooth. And I like smooth. I don't know about you, but I like a very smooth transition. And if you're here, that means you like one too. So what I do is when it comes to that section, I'll stretch the skin. I'll open the mountain to let me have access to the valley, which is the low part of that ridge or that fold. And I'll use the corner of my blade to debulk or to fade that section. All right. I feel like I'm in my bag. This feel like this video gonna be a 40, 10, and 10 game. So I'm going for a triple double because I'm giving y'all game today. All right. See the folds? See how I never put a line directly on the fold because I want to give the illusion that the fold is not really there. All right. So to do that, you just don't apply a line directly to the fold. See how, remember before I started debulking, this is the 2, this is the 1.5 I mean. I debulk with the 2. Do you remember how dark that was? If you don't, just rewind and you will see. Then I'm coming with my 1.5. Then I come with my 1. Then I come with no guard. All right, you all watch. If I see something I need to kind of tell you about and you see, I'll come back and let you know. See how I'm using the comb? The comb helps keep the hair spaced in the section that it grows in versus a brush, which clumps the hair up. Take care. Ooh, I'm on fire. All right, so now it's time for me to use my 1 guard to debulk. Remember, we did 2, 1.5, 1. Lighter the area, easier to fade. So now when I want to come with my clipper, no guard, it'll be so easy to transition these or to blend these 2 sections together, which in turn gives me an overall smooth transition. It's science, right? It's repetition. It's wrist movement. Look at how my hand placement on the clippers, right? I'm not choking the clippers. I would like to say I have a very, 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 very smooth wrist movement or a stroke game when it comes to the clippers. Yeah, that's what she said. So, yeah, just nice, smooth. All right. Yeah, and I just study my work, step back, watch. See y'all in a little bit. All right, so I want you to go back and watch before we did the debulking how thick and bulky this hair was. It would have been so hard for me to come with these clippers right here that I'm using and blend the 2 sections. So after debulking, as you can see, the secondary section and that secondary line has a lot of weight off of it, meaning it's thinner. So now all I have to do is take the clippers that I'm using at the moment, nice stroke, and blend the 2 sections. I'm using the corner to work those folds or those ridges. Remember, don't be in a rush. Just take your time. It's a process. Don't let anybody in the shop or don't let anybody or don't rush yourself. Speed comes with time. Speed comes with reps. The more reps you do, obviously, the more muscle memory you get, the more automatic you will be. Don't let anybody rush your process. Okay? So I tell my daughters and my son, when he gets old enough, there's 2 main factors to success, to succeed. Factor 1 is preparation. That's your reps. That's your the more you work, the work you're willing to put in. Step 2, confidence, mentality. If you're mentally able to execute what you prepared to do, you'll succeed. All right. So you guys let that soak in. Watch my steps. Watch my hand movement. I'll be back when it's time for the edge up. Well, I thought I was going to be back when it was time for the edge up, but you see this right here, right? The fade can be executed perfectly, but sometimes with that CVG or those folds or ridges, it can give a shadow and make it look like it's not. So sometimes what you got to do is fade a little bit above that ridge or around it to kind of match the ridge, fade around the ridge, so that way that fade will have a nice look. You have to work around the client's head. If you can do that, the look will be desired. So that's why I want to point that out with my hands. I squeeze the skin together to show you, and I fade it around that ridge. Now I'll be back when it's time for the edge up. All right, first things first, I want to get in front of this, see the swirls. What I'll do is I first take my clippers, do the tiger claw method on the edge to debulk it. I want to lay that hair down. I want to thin it out a little bit, not too much, not noticeably enough, but I want the hair to conform, or I want to tame the hair so that it'll do the desired look. If the hair is too thick on the edge up, it'll kind of puff up because it's used to standing up. That's why it naturally grows. Then I come with a nice warm rag. I'll set it on there for about 20 to 30 seconds. Let it soak. Let those cuticles swell. Let the hot water get in there. Then I come, reassess the edge up, reassess the hair, lay it down. Use a nice amount of shaving gel, which I'm actually in the process of creating my own. I'm excited. I'm really excited about this. A really good product I'm working on. Then the reason why I apply so much, when you do see me apply the shaving gel, what I'm doing is the more you apply, you kind of want to put weight. I want the gel to lay heavy on the edge up to help it lay down and conform. What I'm doing now is taking a tool and just cleaning up while the hair is wet. Just to lay it down more. All right. Then I'm about to start edging this bad boy up. Okay, I want to assess to see how the edge up grows. Usually start with a razor, but sometimes I start with edgers. I just play with different things. I want to master everything. It's just about having fun with it. As long as it comes out great, I'm fine. So I'm going to edge it up, give myself a little outline. Then I'll come with the razor and clean it up. But this is just and I tap it, pull away, pull at the opposite angle at which the hair grows. And I just do this all the way around, just getting a blueprint for the most part. So while we wait for me to get through this boring part before I get the razor out, because that's the fun part to me. How was you guys' day? What'd you do today? Oh, really? Oh, that sounds really, really. No, you don't say. Okay. See you in a little bit. Oh, wait. No, okay. So what I'm doing is now, same thing, just to outline, I pull the hair towards the eyebrows and I edge the hairs to hang over. Then I'll come with the razor and get extra saucy. Drip, drip. All right, so I'm very modest. I'm not stingy with the gel. And I'll apply it to the hair as well. Kind of let the hair lay down and give it a nice sheen. All right. Oh, I just had a moment. My brain just kind of shut off for a second. Okay, we're back. Now, I comb the hair, and it's simple. I pull from the top, pull from the bottom. Whenever you're using the razor, it's always best to have tight skin. It gives the razor a smooth and tight surface to glide on. And another moment. Wow, that's crazy. And yeah, so I take a lot of nice little niches, little strokes, and I go over the same spot multiple times, but I be sure to be very light-handed with the razor because you never want to cause razor burn. That's why also it's always good to use quite a bit of gel or any lubricant, whatever you use for the edge job. All right, so you all watch me. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to let you all watch. I'm out of here. Hope you enjoy. At the end, after you put the sauce on top with the razor, you go back, you clean the fade up, you find the little spots you need to adjust. Then you take the clippers or your scissors and you clean the top of the hair. Stay tuned for the before and after. I hope you enjoyed. I really appreciate your time. I hope you appreciate the knowledge. Like, subscribe, and share. This method I'm doing right here, what I'm doing is I'm debulking comb under razor. So razor over comb. See you soon. Enjoy. Take care. Remember, take care of them kids. Love today. Be happy. Don't let the anxiety take over. Don't be depressed. We all go through it. And yes, you will succeed. You got it. Take care. Don't ever let anybody else tell you otherwise.